Hi everyone, Spankthany Me Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Against All Logic album 2012 to 2017. This is the debut, this is the new album from the once mysterious music project on the Other People label, a music label run by none other than electronic music producer Nicolas Jaar. One of my favorite electronic music producers. Space's Only Noise is one of the best electronic records of the decade. I don't care what anyone thinks! So I take notice when something gets posted onto the Other People YouTube channel because not a lot of stuff goes up there. I mean, the last material Nicolas Jaar put on the channel was like leftover stuff from his last album cycle. And I also enjoyed some of the artists he was putting on when he originally was running the Clown and Sunset label a little while back. So when I went in to sample these tracks from this artist I assumed was brand new, the production style sounded a lot like Nicolas Jaar's, although I didn't necessarily assume anything because there were at least a few producers on Clown and Sunset that sounded a lot like him. The production on this thing was very cool, very funky, very deep, a pretty subtle approach to the house music genre, and I guess the cat couldn't really stay in the bag because now pretty much everybody and their mom knows that Against All Logic is in fact Nicolas Jaar. I guess with the age of some of the material on this thing, some of it had been circulating around for a while. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter to me under what umbrella the music on this thing is released. I think the music itself is fantastic, and I'm really happy to hear Nicolas Jaar kind of making his return to house music because he just sounds better than ever doing it. Seriously though, I think this album is incredibly cutting edge and blows completely out of the water much of what Nicolas has done up until this point. Because I think Nicolas's production on this project is funkier, it's more melodic, it's more cerebral. He gets more ambitious with samples on this thing too, lacing numerous pieces of soul music into these tracks, whether it be horn hits or vocal leads, like on the track I Never Dream, which features all these cascading vocal samples that kind of bleed into each other in a really psychedelic way. Also transitioning into some really blissful synths and bustling beats. Nearly every track on here features these nocturnal, groovy rhythm sections that can't be denied. Also on every track here, very round, full bass lines, some of which really just like kind of overtake the lower frequencies of these tracks. They're just monstrous, raw pieces of bass. And some pretty cutting edge sound play too, right from the start of the project, where it sounds like Nicolas is working with these like distorted samples and he kind of fuzzes them out to a very, I guess, abrasive effect. There are so many unique musical moments on this project that make individual songs stand out. The song Some Kind of Game features these soulful, passionate lead vocal samples as well as like these hypnotic, mashing piano chords. The song Hopeless has these eerie and impossibly dark synth leads. The track is beautiful, it's hypnotic. There are these weird noisy shots of percussion working into this very intricate beat that gives the song a weird sense of place, like it's being recorded in like a, I suppose like a factory floor or like a loft, an attic. The bouncy remixed funk of the song Know You has not only just funk vibes but disco vibes too. I can't not move to it. Even though the track does owe, I think, a lot of its appeal, its very glitzy appeal, to its core sample, I think Nicolas does a great job of building musical passages around the sample. To me, that's where a lot of the magic of this project happens, in Nicolas's ability to sort of string entire tracks off of a single sample or a single idea. Case in point, the song CITYFADE, which features these tense house piano chords, which really could have been plugged into many a house song, but I feel like Nicolas breaks the formula up with a pretty intense and complex beat and these ghostly, haunting choral vocal samples. When we move past this introductory passage, Nicolas takes the synthesizers and the drums of the track and strings them into a passage that's pretty jammy, almost to the point where it feels like I'm listening to a group of musicians playing together as opposed to more or so one man assembling all of it in a computer. And Nicolas does get pretty inventive with how he revises or applies samples in this record, like on the song Now You Got Me Hooked, which samples very generously from the dramatic song You Got Me Loving You. And Nicolas just finds a whole nother groove around this sample, just building his own pieces of bass and percussion into the sample. Because when I first heard it, it was kind of difficult to tell where Nicolas's input started and the sample ended. He's just that good at picking a sound palette where everything kind of just feels very one. Oh, I just love this man's approach to sound. I love his approach to sound. He just treats sound so nice. He treats it so nice. Another thing I have to compliment pretty much every single track on this record with is the amazing progressions Nicolas works into these tracks. Rarely is a moment or rarely is a song on this album tedious, redundant, not heading anywhere. The progressions on these songs are fluid, they're cinematic, they're engaging, they have a fantastic balance of tension and release. Jaar takes these songs into really creative and unexpected places while simultaneously just building all of them out very logically. This is a fantastic electronic music album. I cannot say enough nice things about it. It is records like this that remind me that, hey, it's really fun and it's really great being a music reviewer, because if I was not constantly trying to find what is the newest, latest, most interesting thing, an album like this could certainly just float under my radar, totally unnoticed. But now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I don't miss records like this. Thank the Lord, because this is just, it's an excellent record. Groovy record, very fun record, very engaging, very fulfilling. And even though it does have its slightly mild spots, the song Such a Bad Way is certainly one of those. And on the whole, the project is pretty much just like a mixed bag of tracks, a little bit of a compilation. The overall vibe of these tracks really just enhance each other in the album listening experience because they're also entrancing. They're also transcendental and kind of eargasmic too. I'm feeling a decent to strong 9 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? I hope you have, because it really is that good of an album. Anthony Fantano here. Nicolas Jaar, Against All Logic. Video here next to my head. Give it a shot. Also, link to subscribe to the channel. You're the best. Forever.